Good afternoon, folks. This is Fred Campos, owner of DFW Website Designers. Happy Friday, April the 30th, end of another month. This is episode number 185 of your 3 business tips at 3 o'clock in and around 3 minutes. Can you believe we are a third of the way through another year, 2021? This is the end of April, time to reflect on our goals, check our businesses. Business owners, you can adjust and move forward. This past week, we've been talking about success tips. What does it mean to be successful? I've been giving you some of these great ideas of little things I've been working on that you may want to take advantage of. And today we're going to talk about doing the hardest task first, 3 daily tasks, and where your personal task or goals go in your plan. You remember all the way back in episode number 3, I talked about Eat Your Frog. It was a Brian Tracy book. It was great about doing the hardest task first. I just want to reiterate that from a different point of view, in that when you plan out your day, whatever the worst thing is that you want, the thing that you're avoiding, that needs to be the very first thing you do. And if you're like me, you get up before the crack of dawn, you get up before you do your daily task or when the phone starts ringing, that needs to be done first. That's business tip number 1, do your hardest task first. The goal is to get that hardest task completed even before the rest of your employees show up or before the day really starts. Business tip number 2, something I've been working on. I try to put an enormous amount of things into my calendar. We've talked about Google Calendars and my to-do list for the day. And the reality is I can really only do 3 things a day effectively. So we're going to call those, business tip number 2, your 3 most important tasks, right? Your 3 daily tasks you're trying to accomplish that day. Now, here's what's not on that list. Not your personal stuff. We're talking business only. What are the 3 accomplishments if you did nothing else that would move the needle? What would be the 3 things that you would do? So like in my business, it might be a little bit of support. It might be finishing, getting a website live. But what are the 3 most important tasks? Maybe it's making sales calls or whatnots. Because you can try to accomplish 10 or 15 things and maybe you do them, but there's really only 3 major things you can do per day. And I would make the hardest things those. And by the way, if one of them is a meeting, that counts as one of your tasks. Business tip number 3. Now let's talk about your personal goals. Those also need to be added to your calendar and need to be written down daily. Now it seems silly that reading a book would be something that you would add on there, or exercising. But what I have found is when I don't add my personal goals to my daily routine and calendar, they don't get done. In fact, I've been very faithful 115 times of actually going out and walking, but I still have to add it to the calendar either in the morning or the afternoon. And I find myself moving it around, but it needs to be on the calendar itself. So quick review of what we're talking about today. Hardest task first. We're going to focus on doing at least 3 of them every day. And at the very end, we're going to put our personal goals and tasks at the end, and we're going to schedule them. So that's what I'm learning. These are the tips that I'm trying to do. We'll continue this series of successful tips, and then we'll segue into habits next week. I want you guys to be awesome. Now go back to sleep.